You know why?
On my way. On my way. It has those fucking vocals.
It does, but it fucking works.
Welcome to Every Album Ever with Mike and Alex. My name is Michael Mansour, and I'm joined, as always, by my excited and happy co-host, Alexander Volt. Say hello.
Hello. At time of recording, WrestleMania weekend right now. Let's fucking go.
There we go. And that's the reason. This is Every Album Ever, the podcast where we listen to every single album in the world, one artist at a time. That's a whole new discography per episode. And today, we'll be discussing every album by
Sunny Day Real Estate, the most inappropriate band for WrestleMania weekend.
Really? Yeah, maybe.
Probably. No, not the most, but it's
not
up
the
there.
most, but it's among a band that we never planned on covering. That probably our people and fans didn't call that one.
I would have suggested it.
Really?
If we, yeah.
I'm glad you did. This was actually requested on Patreon by Connie. Connie is a ride or die.
Day one ish.
Basically day one or two.
Yes.
Episode one, at least that.
I believe for no reason. I don't think she gets any likes or comments, but she does it every single Tuesday. Post our episodes on her Facebook page. She has told me stories about carpooling with family to work, forcing them to listen to our podcast.
Shit.
Amazing stuff.
I'm sorry for your family, but thank you so much. God. Oh God. No words can explain how much I appreciate her. Really, seriously. Thank you so much.
Bought all her t-shirts for her entire family, and she has a large family.
It set you back about a year's worth of our income making the podcast.
So yeah, we wouldn't be here without Connie.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So thank you so much for requesting this. And this is like her first request, right?
Well, in a long time, going back into the vaults, she has requested Van Halen.
She requested Van Halen.
Yes.
That was one of my first, that was one of the first episodes where it's like, okay, here's a big discography and it's going to beat the fuck out of us.
Yes.
Check out that episode. It was episode 20, I think. No, like 25. I don't, it's whatever. It's back in the 19 probably.
Yes. And she posted a picture of her mom with Eddie Van Halen
and
Alex.
It was both of them, right?
I think so. Both Van Halen brothers. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That was great.
I think she requested one more, but I'm blanking on what she wanted.
Interesting. Maybe we'll get to that later. But
okay, this text her.
Now, Sunny Day Real Estate. So we've covered Embrace and Rites of Spring, but that's as close as we've gotten to emo. And I thought, Blood Brothers a little bit.
Blood Brothers and Thrice and RX Bandits are kind of flirting with it.
RX Bandits was ska, and then they went more proggy.
Yeah.
Thrice early on, 100%. Don't like that band. So, but like this is a name that you associate like heavily with emo.
Absolutely.
Even like the way it sounds, the name.
Absolutely. And I think I was like hesitant to listen to them because I'm 36 now. And so in high school and stuff, emo was like this whole scene thing, the screamo thing. I do not like it one bit, like at all. I can't. And so I was a little bit hesitant, and then like something like popped up and I was like, this isn't emo music. And then I learned that, it kind of mutated into something totally different. Sunny Day Real Estate is to emo what Run DMC and Aerosmith is to nu metal.
That's a really good and highly unusual analogy that really makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
We did cover Run DMC way back in the day. So yeah, I've never heard them. I'm not big on emo. I've gone on record defending a lot of emo albums and like bands and stuff, even though it's really not my thing. But I was like, all right, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to give it a real shot. Here we go. Emo. This is fucking not emo. It's just like, it's like emotional post-hardcore.
Yeah. It's closer to like Fugazi and Slint and Modest Mouse.
Yep.
And yeah, all those bands. So it's crazy how the genre like changed and mutated from like this, like there are little like hints of it here and there, especially, you know, like there's songs like Blanket Made of Stars, which I see how people took names like that and kind of ran it into the ground, burning November's fire and shit like that.
Yeah.
That's not a real band. I just made it up. Well, it's probably a real band.
November's Fire. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's a Sam Hain song.
There we go.
They're not emo, but that's a good song.
Mr. Glenn's kind of.
He's not the cheeriest fella. Yeah. He's not a very smiley guy.
I think I started listening to it when I started listening to At the Drive-In, because At the Drive-In got the emo label too, and I remember Cedric or Omar, one of those lovely maniacs, talking about the term emo, and they were like, I don't like the term because like every form of music is emotional. What does that even mean? Emotional.
More emotional, Alex. It means they're more emotional.
Yeah. Well, they've never heard a Smiths album then.
If that's the case, check out that episode. That is the most emo band of all time.
Absolutely. So I think about that too, about like, yeah, what does that even fucking mean? But how
it's done from emotional hardcore. That's where I mean, and that's Embrace and Right to Spring, where it's like it's hardcore, but we're talking about feelings and it's more melodic and there's more melody to it and there's more heart to it. Well, heart is probably a subjective term, but I guess they just ran with that. So it's like they hijacked the word emotional when really it's just emotional hardcore.
Yeah, and at its peak, I don't know what it's like now because I don't have the patience to listen to what the kids listen to. But yeah, at its peak, it kind of felt like hair metal to me with like a new sound. Like it's still driven by like hairspray and makeup.
Oh, you mean image wise and like aesthetically?
Yeah. Like
this does not sound like Motley Crue.
No. In the early 2000s, you know, it's still all about like ridiculous hair and eyeliner,
the snake bites and the fucking checkered belts and all that,
tight pants. Yeah. And although it is funny to me how tight pants have just become normal now, but
tight pants have always been like the thing of every subgenre or like little counterculture thing. It was a punk thing. It was a metal thing. It's like it's always just. And if you're baggy, new metal or hip hop. It's just are you high and tight or are you low and loose? Which one are you?
Yeah, but you know, 80s and 90s, it wasn't really, you know, about that unless you were in those.
It was like the off day because grunge was like, we're going a little looser, all right? We're not going to have them so tight.
Grunge is regular fit.
Yeah, exactly. the Levi's 502s, and then we move on to Levi's 511 when we get to the more emo stuff.
No, it's so side quest. It's so crazy. I remember like people buying like girls' jeans.
Oh yeah, all my friends.
Girls' jeans. But now you can go into a store and you can buy like tight fitting men's jeans. Yeah, it's crazy.
Girly man jeans is what we call them now. That's not true. It's stupid. But so this band is very good. I really like them.
Crazy how little information is available, like just on a general sense.
Yeah.
Because they're arguably one of the most influential bands ever.
I was surprised by several things. One, the way they sound, but the rest of it. Two, that there was not a lot of. I mean, there's like a general, like you said, like here's how they started. Here's the some of the drama, and then here's where they are now. And the other thing, I wasn't expecting them to have struggled so much. Maybe not kind of monetarily, but like success wise, like they kept breaking up because they weren't doing well.
Yes.
I thought they were hearing the name because it's become, I mean, it's not ubiquitous, but you know the fucking name.
Yeah.
I expected them to be successful. They basically weren't.
No, they're totally one of those bands where like they got their shine afterwards.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because like they were on Sub Pop and I don't know what their touring schedule is like and who they opened for, but yeah, I wonder if it was just, you know, they happened during grunge and people just wanted to fucking hear that. Even if you were to hypothetically throw them out on the road with the Nirvana, people just.
I don't think it would have gone that well. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, Yeah. So another thing, I didn't know they were around this long. I mean, early to mid 90s. And yeah, this was at the same time as a bunch of post-hardcore, the same time as like, post-rock was becoming a genre too. And it's like, it just happened to coincide with all that stuff. It's like, it was like parallel. Like you think, oh, they were clearly influenced by whatever, Unwound or some whatever post-rock. Like, but no, they were at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like a fork in the road. They just went a little bit more melodic, a little bit more simplified, a little bit more emotional. And then these other bands went more complicated and wild and weird. So it's actually really cool. It took me a minute to actually put the piece together of how this influenced all the shit that I don't like.
Yeah.
But after listening to the whole discography and then going back a few times to earlier albums, I can absolutely see where it came from. Like it's like if you listen to Embrace, you don't hear any emo in that. No. You hear just basically Ian MacKaye doing punk stuff that's a little bit more musical. This is to Embrace what emo is to this. I feel
it's like this only, this is like
missing link kind of.
Yeah, this is like a step forward.
Yeah. So our history man, Tom Osman, who we should all follow and be appreciative of because we certainly are. He got a couple snippets from some interviews for us. One of them is from Spin from 2022, and the other one is from Pause and Play with lead guitarist Dan Horner from 2000.
You know what's funny? I don't remember what episode it was. It may have been a bonus episode, but we were like trying to figure out if Spin Magazine was still around.
Oh yeah. Did we find an answer?
Well, I just did right now.
We did.
2022.
It's not looking good if we're trying to figure out if they exist. But yeah, the main, well, it's like the main 3+1 that's really famous. And then a bunch of drama. So singer, rhythm guitar and keyboards, you got Jeremy Enoch. And then, like I said, Dan Horner on lead guitar and backing vocals. William Goldsmith on drums. And original bassist Nate Mendel. Or Mendel. Is it Mendel or Mendel?
I think it's Mendel.
That seems more right. Who you should all know from Foo Fighters because he's been with them since day one, pretty much. And there's a whole bunch of beef with Chris... or not Chris, Goldsmith. Why do I think I'm reading the name Chris? That's why. Goldsmith and Dave Grohl. There's a whole beef there. I'm sure.
I didn't even know that. No.
Well, then I did. I fell down a rabbit hole of it, so I'll talk all about it. And anybody who doesn't know will now hear about it. And because they were both originally in the earliest incarnation of Foo Fighters. And there's a whole bunch of messy shit there. But aside from Mendel, there's like a whole bunch of revolving bassists. It's a whole bunch. There's Greg Surin, fucking Jeff Palmer, Joe Skyward, Nick Macri. But they come in and out, and we're probably not going to be talking about them very much. Yeah. So that's who they are, and that's where they be. Okay. Do you know how this band formed and started in the early stuff?
No. I thought it was like Midwest stuff, but
it's Seattle.
Yeah.
Which is another funny thing that they started in 92 when they formed in Seattle, which is peak grunge. I mean, maximum peak crunge. Every band there was trying to copy Nirvana as soon as Nevermind dropped, and they clearly weren't doing that.
Who's that band we just did?
Silkworm.
Who moved to
They moved to Seattle right before Nevermind dropped, and then when that happened, they're like, "Oh fuck, we got to get out of here. This is not good." Whoever wrote the wiki is a super diehard fan, so kudos to them. Yeah, so I guess it was formed by Dan Horner and Nate Mendel. They eventually brought in Goldsmith, and then later on they brought in Enoch. It's not the most exciting forming of things, and it's just fairly straightforward. But as you noted earlier, you hear a lot of Fugazi, and that is obviously not a coincidence. They're heavily influenced by Fugazi. Check out that episode. Dan Horner said here about his first Fugazi show. He says, I'll say the first concert that I remember as having a real impact on me was seeing Fugazi at a little place in Spokane called 123 Arts. That totally changed my life. It made me want to be in a punk rock band. I had no idea who they were. I just knew I liked to play punk rock. He says the crowd went nuts, but the funny thing was they got everyone to come up on stage. There were these these two skinheads at the show who were doing that kick everybody skinhead dance they do, and they still do to this day. And they got everybody to come up on stage while they played, except for these two idiots. I've never seen anything like that before. I never knew you could do that. I have great respect for them to this day. And that was from 2000 when Fugazi, right before they went on hiatus forever.
Yeah, because I don't know how you kind of write these riffs without hearing Fugazi.
There's a lot of moments where it's like, they don't feel like a Fugazi tribute band or a copycat or anything.
Not at all.
But there were moments where I'm like, that's a Fugazi thing. I know that. I've heard that 1,000 times. That's cool. I get it.
Yeah, these are not like traditional riffs.
No, there's a lot of guitar interplay. There's a lot of like one guy dicking around over here, and then the rhythm section doing something completely different, and then the other guitar is fucking dicking around in the other ear. And the vocals, another thing that pretty much caught me completely off guard. I actually really love Jeremy Enig's voice.
Yeah, it's a thing I'm neutral about. I don't like love it. I don't hate it. Obviously, I prefer it over, like screamo vocals.
Tropes of what we now
It's just kind of like a neutral voice to me, which I think is fine because there's always something going on with the guitar or bass or drums, and it's this.
There's always something to hold on to, but I found him to be more than neutral. Actually, he reminded me a lot, and it actually makes sense why I like it more than you. His voice really reminded me of, I think it's Scott Reynolds from All, the second vocalist, my favorite vocalist for that band. Check out that episode. I love that dude's voice because it had this really sincere, young or youthful quality to it, where it's high pitch. He's got great pitch, but the other kind of pitch, and it has this like really honest quality when he screams. Like you could hear it cracking and stuff. It's just like a really organic, authentic scream. Like you really believe it
without sounding like a whiny little bitch, though.
Well, that's the thing. Like even if you sound like a whiny bitch, if it was like really passionate, it still works. With a lot of like emo that I've heard, it becomes like the style of singing, like the style of screaming, where it's not really screaming. It's like doing this these false vocal cord kind of shrieks that that it's better for your voice. It's good for you. It doesn't fuck you up, but it has a quality to it. Where this guy is screaming like he's hurting himself, and you feel it more. I think it sounds great.
Comes through.
He also has really great pitch though. Like even if he didn't, it would still be cool, but. It's something. Everything just lines up. Everybody feels really on point. But might as well get into some of the albums here.
Hell yeah!
There's not a whole lot. There's only 4.
Which, oh man, what a nice week this week has been.
Dude, it has been a breeze. We've been covering such lengthy and like hefty discographies. This was pretty easy. But 4 albums total. First one came out in 1994. Last one 2000. So if you ready.
I am ready.
Hell yeah. This is 1994's Diary. Really raw production.
Yes, this is not their best sounding album.
No. It's the worst sounding album from a production standpoint.
Yeah, but I think the playing and performance, like you said, is just so sincere.
Oh, yeah.
Also, we're listening to this damn near 30...
Almost 30 years old.
Yeah, 30 years old. And it still feels new and exciting, I think.
I was engaged as fuck.
Yes.
This is not even a little bit cringy.
No. And yeah, that's a great example. Like the bass and the drums are just doing.
So that guitar line, the reason why I see the influence, that's like a total MCR thing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I've defended MCR, and I will defend them. But like, it doesn't sound anything like it.
No.
There's like little pieces that like, oh, I could see how I see the dots.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it, because I hear it in songs too, and then as you're talking about like influences and stuff, I see the producer of this, Jeremy's voice. At time, I was like, man, the guy in Placebo sounds, and then this producer went on to work with Placebo.
Yeah, Brad Wood, just a bunch of credits, but Tom noted Liz Phair, Veruca Soul, Everything But the Girl, and Placebo.
So there you go. I'm sure Placebo loves this band.
Probably. This is mastered by Adam Casper, who went on to mix Songs for the Deaf by Queens,
which is one of the best sounding rock records ever.
It's like one of those, try to find something wrong with the production. It's immaculate.
It's damn near flawless.
This album is like the one that people go to as like the most influential thing ever, and their best album. I don't think it's their best album. I think it's a great album. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Same.
But I do think they get better. And this is like the most, it really does sound like the most, they don't really get more emo. This is like the most emo in that kind of thing album, I feel like, which is why I guess it was so influential. Whereas later on, when they do get more emotional sounding, it doesn't have like the edge, I guess, of this one. It doesn't have the hard hittingness.
Yeah. There's I feel like we're gonna have the same picks, but
probably, almost definitely.
Yeah. There's a moment where that happens again, but yeah, this is just a fucking great album, start to finish. Even like the bonus tracks are great.
Oh, that's right. Like the first two albums have bonus tracks, and I think on both albums they should be included.
Yes, because these are short albums, and the bonus tracks are for the most part always great. But yeah, it's just what a crazy style of rock and roll to decide to play in 1994 when you're in Seattle. They clearly didn't care what everyone else was doing in the area,
and that's like bands like this is like, it's like almost dirty because emo has become, even like it's become synonymous with like a whiny, crying, overly emotional thing. Even though some of the music is good, and then like there's plenty of people who will stab you for saying that. I don't fucking care, but this like it doesn't feel like any of that. It all feels like, yeah, it's sincere. There's nothing like whiny at all.
Absolutely. And you know, there's nothing to cash in on here.
No, they certainly didn't. They suffered immediately after this album. Like immediately, they were on hard times, I think, right after this came out.
It is interesting to hear a song like Round, and because there aren't a lot of happy riffs to be had, but that is some of the more,
that song,
more of the bright riffs, I guess. So
why I couldn't give this any kind of best or anything is just because like the overall flow and pacing of it. Up top, like it has a rev. I think it has a rev to the album. It gets better as it goes on. The first three tracks, they're all good songs on their own, but they're all very similar to each other. My favorite of the bunch is In Circles. I do fucking love that song.
I could see the way the vocals are harmonized on In Circles also impacting.
Oh, it's so great.
Because the so you just take that, but you make it worse.
And that's what they all did. Yeah. Like that chorus part where it has, one vocal line shouting the thing over and over again, and then this really beautiful legato line and singing backup. It sounds great. But Song About an Angel is where it's like, all right, it's a good song, but it's a lot of the same up top. And the rest of the album gets super diverse, but up top it's like really samey. So Round comes on, I'm like, fuck, it's another song that sounds the fucking same. Until a minute 30, and it has the most metal riff they've ever done. It's one of the best riffs they've ever done. And it turns the whole thing around. I'm completely sold.
Oh man. Yeah, and then I do agree with you where towards the middle or the end it does get a little heavier, because The Blankets Were Stars, that's like
with the stairs
or stairs, sorry, whatever, some nonsensical lyric song name. Yeah, that one I could, like, you can hear the grunge in that one a little bit.
That one is where I was like, oh, I like this band.
Yeah.
First of all, it's just post-hardcore. Calling that song anything but post-hardcore it's almost disingenuous. Like that is
Absolutely.
a post-hardcore song.
Yeah.
Beginning to end, just the way it flows, the grooviness of it, the repetitiveness of it. Oh, it's fucking great.
I like number 7.
Yeah. Four ton square toe.
Whatever track 7's called. I like this throwing a little unique melodic piano in this.
Yeah, it's like a spooky piano waltz with some bass in there, and then of course vocals, no drums.
Good little palette cleanser where it still fits the themes and feelings of the album,
but not in the same like sameness. It's out of left field. Actually, put on a little bit of that song because it's so unusual to throw in the middle of the album, and it just like
it's an unusual song even like later in their career.
Yeah, it's a palate cleanser too for the album. It makes you like, okay, well, I gotta re-listen to everything now. Also, listen to this vocal line. That I can't not hear King Crimson when I hear that.
Oh yeah. Now I can.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you speed this up, maybe like 100 BPMs, and you put screaming and this burn piano.
Oh right, it's right from Blood Brothers. Except
not that it sounds the same, but you know the Blood Brothers like using keyboard piano.
Oh, it's fucking beautiful. It's legitimately beautiful, and it's a great palate cleanser. And then I have problems with Shadows. I liked it on first listen, and then every time I heard it after that, it always feels like a dip in like the consistency. But it's another one that's like it's too sincere and raw to like call it bad.
I think because track 7's so unique, and then like 48 is such a banger.
Fuck yeah, dude. God damn.
And being sandwiched between those two songs kind of does it a disservice.
It makes it seem more regular than all the others.
Yeah. But yeah, another band that maybe they don't get compared to is, you know, like Explosions in the Sky. Like they can write these like big, epic, anthemic, like rock music songs that don't sound like rock music, where you're like, you could put that in a movie score.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it Grendel? Grendel. Probably if it's pronounced like the bass player's last name, Grendel. That's probably my favorite song on the album. It's between that or The Closer sometimes. I love them both so goddamn much. Sometimes, by the way, is Slinty. And that's like a term I was not expecting to use for this band.
I've only heard 2 albums going into it, this being one, and then something else. So I knew it's just like, I don't know. I feel so stupid for not like having this band in like regular rotation, but then we listen to an absurd amount of music, even without the podcast. And it's just, it's hard to keep track of everything.
I feel like I was lied to about this band.
Yeah.
And no one said a word to me. Just like, just me hearing it ambiently.
Yeah.
Like the name Sunny Day Real Estate sounds emo. The band is considered emo. They're hugely influential. It's like, it just seems like something that I wouldn't have given a shot to. But I was wrong. I was wrong.
There's a gym class hero song when I thought they were like still clever. I don't even know what happened to them, but anyways, I think it's on probably their first album where like he's rapping and he works in all these like emo bands, and then he says like something about like Sunny Day Real Estate, and
that's the stamp of approval.
I mean, like, yeah, that's a weird band. That's a different podcast, but I mean, yeah, so much. They had like their moment, but you know, here's this like song where they're name checking all these emo bands.
Yeah,
and then,
yeah.
So yeah.
But back to Grin a little bit. That one, goddamn, the bass on that one is fucking goddamn too good.
It's that's one of those songs where like, oh, you think it's like dreamy and ethereal,
yeah,
and then it gets kind of noisy at the end. And it's just
because it is, for the most part, it's very atmospheric, very pretty, very floaty, spacey vocals, and then it whips your ass. And sometimes it's such a fucking beautiful closer.
We used all our whimsical adjectives.
We're done for the rest of the episode. We have to just keep saying it's cool and good. But the bonus tracks are 8 and 9,
which is crazy that they're bonus.
They sound
like extensions of the album.
Like some of them, I would replace maybe 47 with 9.
Sure.
And 8, they'll record it for the next album, so we do get it again. But these versions are, the songs alone are like, they are evolving from these songs. Like they're written around the same time period, but they are deeper, they are more complex. And even Jeremy's vocals on, especially 8, it's very well on both of them. Both of them. They're way more pointy and nasally. It's like he's like singing differently. It's like maybe, I don't know if it was earlier or after where he was just trying out different styles or something, but
for sure,
it's interesting.
Yeah,
both very epic and lengthy songs. But yeah, it's a good ass album, a strong debut. Way more in common with hardcore than emo, that's for damn sure, or post hardcore,
post rock, post hardcore.
Yeah, and people seem to like it. So there's not a whole bunch after this album. I'm pretty sure it did poorly. I'm pretty sure. And they were already about to break up. Like so much so that by the next album, during recording, they were broken up. They had agreed to all right, we're just going to finish this one as fast as we fucking can and we're done. All right, just get it out. We'll finish the goddamn songs in the studio. It's not working.
Yeah.
They already gave up immediately.
That's crazy because I see here they played on the Jon Stewart show.
Yep.
They played the Almost Acoustic Christmas here in Los Angeles, which used to be a big fucking deal. I don't even know if it's around anymore.
I have never heard of it, having lived in Los Angeles my entire life. And this is one thing I did forget. I'm glad you said that because I forgot. Apparently, goddamn Horner refuses to play in LA forever and has never explained why. Or never. Okay. Sorry, California.
Oh, okay. That makes me feel a little better.
This is the quote from Wikipedia. All right, I don't fucking no. It says, for most of its early days, the band also refused to play a show in California for reasons that were never fully explained. When the band was asked to perform at the 1994 Almost Acoustic Christmas in Los Angeles, Horner refused to join them, leaving Enoch, Mendel, and Goldsmith to perform the show as a trio. What is his beef? What is their beef and his beef? I'm so curious.
It's a wild thing to axe out a huge entire state.
Yeah. I mean, it's got problems. I'll give it that, but I want to leave the state. I get it, but to forbid yourself from performing there is pretty funny. Mike
is the only person in our generation who listens to rock music and somehow escape the grasp of KROQ.
How so?
Oh, like Almost Acoustic Christmas is a big fucking.
Oh, okay.
It's a big fucking deal.
It's funnily enough, I listened to K-Rock as a young kid back when there was more of, I don't know, my generation's music that I guess it was on there. As a young child, but my more vivid memories are just Loveline, and then after that, just nothing.
Yeah. I guess older brothers, you don't have to, but yeah. Almost Acoustic Christmas and the Weenie Roast were big festivals.
Oh shit, interesting.
I don't know if they still do them. I have not listened. Now you have streaming. I don't know who listens. Apparently someone listens to radio still, but
plenty of people, and I don't know how or the context, because it's not it can't be the same context as it was for decades before. The world has changed so much.
Before you had your CD collection or tape collection, and then
that was it.
The radio, if you wanted to hear,
it's got to be mostly talk. I mean, I would imagine. Even then, I podcast. I don't fucking know. I have no idea. I haven't listened to the radio since I was 7 years old.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I've been in a few cars and had it come on, and it seems the same as it ever was. So
in other words, it's going to die very shortly, because if it's not growing and moving with the times. I don't fucking know. What the hell am I talking about? What I do know is that around this time period, Enoch converted to Christianity. It became heavily devout, which I'm sure he still is to this day. And I think that caused a lot of rumors that's why they broke up. And I think it's been debunked.
Yeah.
And it makes sense that it was debunked because usually when he has some quotes in there and he's like really, really devout. In my experience anyway, when someone goes through like a big life-changing thing like that, they end up being way happier and more on board with the shit. It's usually either one or the other. Either like this part of my life was horrific, I need to move on and cut off completely, or I am so happy here, I want to spread this love.
Yeah.
And if they didn't break up because of that, then it probably had nothing to do with it, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I don't know anyone like that. Thankful, I don't know.
I don't know.
This one out.
It's one of those things with like really, really religious people where if they're, here's the thing, if they keep it to themselves, then I don't care.
Sure.
But if it makes them happy, if it really changes their life for the better, how would you not support that? Go have your fun, dude. Fucking hell yeah. I wish I could have something like that. I really, really wish I could have something that made me happy like that. I got podcasts and Taco Bell. God damn. Anyway, what are we talking about? Music?
Damn, it feels good to be a gangster.
Hell yeah. But yeah, so they're breaking up. Stuff is happening. They're in the studio. They're trying to rush it out. And there's a lot of things about this next album that are like insanely rushed, insanely half-assed. It's just crazy. It's crazy. It's an interesting story, but we're going to talk about the music first. So I'm sure you're ready because I asked you that already a long time ago.
Yes.
This is 1995's self-titled or LP2 or the Pink Album. There's any of those names.
Take your pick.
Sold immediately. On this riff, sold immediately. This is...
Hearing that the album was rushed, though, I feel like that kind of makes some sense.
A lot of parts make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't feel as strongly about this album as I do like the last.
Really? Interesting. I like his vocal approach here. It's very unique. It's like he's forcing it out or something. This is heavy and genuinely sorrowful. Yeah.
What a interesting thing to play for a bridge.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's wonderful. Like if you're not paying attention, you'll miss it completely.
Absolutely.
It's an unusual opener, but I like it as an opener. Best personal favorite. We're not going to agree.
No.
I'm surprised because this was so cut and dry for me. This album, I fucking love this album. All right, I fucking love it, and I was so sold in this immediately. Like I heard it, I was like, oh, this is fucking so much. Like I liked the last album a lot, but this one's like, this is an improvement in every way. It's not like a night and day improvement. It's just everything has been improved. It felt like. And then I listened to the full discography, and then I started thinking like maybe the first album is the best one. I don't know. And then I listened to the first album again. I was like, all right, it's a good album. Then listen to this one again. I'm like, nope, it's this one. Yeah. It's this one. Yeah. Fucking, I love it. Why don't you love it the way I do?
It does feel like it's lacking a little something compared to the first album. Not that it's bad, but to me, it's like it's staying the course, and the course just happens to be really good.
That's interesting. You also said that because our boy Tom said right here. He says, I've heard it said that when a band releases an album mid-career as self-titled, it means they're trying to reinvent themselves. What do you guys think about that in general? And in this case, and he listed off a bunch of examples I didn't even think about. The Cult, their 7th album, The Cure's 12th album, Deep Purple's 3rd album, Metallica's 5th album, Prince's 2nd album, Alice in Chains' 3rd album, Blur's 5th album, and one he didn't note here, Killing Joke. They made 2 self-titled. The one was the first one, and the other one was in 2003, and that was a absolute radical shift in sound.
Yeah, I guess I could only speak on 2 of those because, like, I like The Cult, but I haven't listened to 7 albums worth of The Cult. I don't really feel like Alice in Chains was like a huge leap.
It wasn't a huge leap, no.
And then Metallica obviously
was a huge
is,
leap.
and then Prince was like from more like traditional funk stuff to Prince. And then as much as I like Deep Purple, I haven't thought about them in that context. So, and then not really a Blur fan. So
I would say in the case of this band, I don't think so. This definitely feels like they're doing the same type of thing. A lot of these songs, I'm sure a ton of these songs are written at the same, like in the session, like the closing track is literally from the sessions of Diary.
Yeah. Or like, we had like 8 as a bonus.
Of course, 8. And then what's it called? Radio Jones. That was recorded during Diary. Which actually sounds like it was. Yeah, it's the only one that kind of sounds like that era.
8 is an absolute like fucking killer staple of a song. And I'm amazed that song didn't get more radio airplay.
It's wild. I love that vocal line. It's a very unusual, really unique vocal line. And then here, I think I like the original, the original version fine, but this one does sound a lot better. The vocals are way less pointy and abrasive. Everything kind of fits more. But every song, I love every song. And this album has 3 of my favorite songs of theirs ever, where most albums has like maybe 1.
Yeah.
Waffle, fucking love Waffle.
Yes.
And then Jana, fucking, I was like, hell yes, brother. Fuck yeah, dude. And then it's a bonus track. But I wish it wasn't. Bucket of Chicken.
Yes.
Holy shit, dude. That's a rule.
Fucking amazing song. We're so used to like bonus tracks being kind of this tacked on.
Or inconsequential.
Yeah. And then it's just like, man, Bucket of Chicken fucking rules.
I wish that was the original close instead of Rodeo Jones.
Yeah.
Like Rodeo Jones is my least favorite, and it's not even a bad song. It's just the least developed. It sounds like something that could have been on the first album, whereas these ones, all these songs feel way more fleshed out and dynamic and deep, and they're lengthier, and they're just, this is just a straight up post hardcore album, like through and through.
I'm surprised you didn't bring up Iska.
Oh fuck yeah! Hold on, we can pronounce this.
They have too many songs I don't want to try to pronounce.
Where the fuck is it? Okay.
Track 7 again.
It's track 7. Iskarabade. Iskarabade. That one. Well, I'm also questioning how fucking, if that is even a word, because
it probably isn't.
Yeah, because I was saying about this album being rushed, and to the point where lots of lyrics weren't written, at least according to the bits I've read, and Jeremy was just like singing gibberish. He was pulling a Cocteau Twins, just singing gibberish.
There we go.
Like, fuck it. I mean, just get it done. Just get it. And on first listen, the song 5/4 comes on, and I get noticeably annoyed. The song is beautiful, but at the title, it's like that's the laziest. The song, the main riff is in 5/4. The song's called 5/4. Like, that's pretty fucking lazy.
Yeah.
And then after reading about it, I was like, oh yeah, they just didn't want to title it. They were like trying to get the fucking thing done.
Man, it's so crazy how a band is trying to like, let's just get this over with, and it's still really
fucking incredible.
Oh man, how many albums have we listened to where bands were like really fucking trying?
Every album by Steely Dan, like, just really trying.
I like the Dan.
Oh man, yeah, a lot. So it coincides with the Albini ethos of just like fucking just knock it out, and you know, what you are is what you are. That's what I'm recording. I'm recording what you are. Whereas we talked a little bit about it on like a singles episode or whatever, where I'm not really a huge fan of like the play it a million times until it's perfect, like the Steely Dan. And then you made a good point of like, well, isn't Swans the same thing? And the only difference, and it is pretty much the same thing, but the only difference is that Steely Dan is praised for it, whereas Swans is like
pariahs. Well, not really, but
well, it's like nobody looks at Swans like, look how good they are. They played that thing 1,000 times until it's perfect. It's like, no, it's not. It's not why we like Swans. It's not because it's perfect.
Yeah, you can't show a like technical music geek who likes Porcupine Tree Swans and have them be like, oh, fucking immaculate.
Yeah, it's not the same thing.
Smell their own farts.
Yeah, so I tend to veer more toward the Albini, like do it in 3 takes because first of all, you can't afford more takes. You don't have any time. And also because that's what you got in you. This is the moment. This is where it's happening. Even Rick Rubin, who's very famous and loaded with money, kind of has that like the best takes are usually like the first couple. Like,
anything after that, we're just beating a dead horse here.
And that comes up again. Why Goldsmith had the fucking feud with Dave Grohl.
Okay, here we go.
It's really relevant. It happens after this album, but it's really, really relevant. I think it's after this album. But a little bit more about the album and why I love it so much. I think it flows very nicely, very nicely. Like Friday the opener that we're listening to is very melancholy and like it would be dreamy if it wasn't so heavy. It has that kind of just mood to it. And then Theo B comes on and it has great energy. It's very snappy. It's like the kind of thing you want to follow up something that like you go from standing on sand to solid ground kind of thing.
Yeah, I like the drumming on Theo B. I feel like a lot of times in a band like this where it's just like maybe like an individual member isn't getting praised, and especially not the drummer. But yeah, I like the drumming a lot on that. I think he does some unique things with it.
He's a great drummer, and everything is just everything is constantly moving. So there's never any.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, there's no lulls here. Even when it goes slow and dreamier and more emotional, it still moves and it still has a lot of cool things going on with each ear in the mix. It's just everything is very it's emotional, but again, it's not like super sad. You don't really feel bummed out listening to this. And
except I would say Waffle is like the most somber.
It's pretty somber. Here. Yeah, it's pretty somber. It's like what that song does. It's like the clean and pretty side of post-hardcore that those bands usually only dabble with. And I love that. And I always wanted more of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So this album is pretty much like, I hold it as in high regard as most of those bands. I love it. I think it's a step above in every way. I think it's super underrated. And I think I'm surprised it doesn't get talked about more. I mean, it gets some stuff, but not enough in my opinion. But it's wonderful. If you're a post-hardcore fan, this is a must.
Must listen.
Hell yeah. So after this, they break up during this, like I said. And Jeremy goes on to put out a solo record, and Nate Mendel and old William Goldsmith, they get picked out of a crowd by Dave Grohl. I think he goes to one of their shows and he approaches both of them and says, "Join my band." And he'd already recorded the first Foo Fighters album.
Yep.
He's trying to put the group together for The Color and the Shape, what would eventually be Color and the Shape. And well, the story goes, it kind of fucking blew up. Obviously Nate stayed with the Foo Fighters. And Tom here notes, he's like, was that the right decision? Yeah, it was such the right decision for Nate to join the Foo Fighters. It's insane. And
it absolutely.
Oh my God, the right decision. But so they both join and they're recording, like, I guess calling it Shape pretty much. Pat Smear was already in the band at the time, and they're recording with Gil Norton.
I didn't realize Goldsmith actually got like credits on this album.
Two of his songs. Well, I think two. Well, you know what? A lot of it was re-recorded. And that's why he left, and it's a whole blow up. But some of his parts are still on the record. But Gil Norton produced this. He's done fucking the Pixies, Echo and the Bunnymen. He's done a lot more than that, actually. He's one of those guys. But he is one of those assholes that says play it 1,000 times until it's perfect. He's one of those producers.
Okay.
So that's what they were dealing with recording this album. And apparently, old Gil was a real scumbag to both Nate and William.
Holy shit.
I think he called him the rhythmless section.
Oh my god. That's fucking straight blasphemy.
It's first of all, it's insane and incorrect because they're great. But also, is that how you want to get the best out of your musicians when you're fucking demeaning them? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, the last time I feel like we talked about like a producer overstepping their bounds was like Hole and that whole mix up with the drummer, and
I forgot about that.
Yeah, where he like fucking kind of bullied her out of the band, and he had like Courtney Love's ear. And
man, that's dark stuff, dude. That's dark stuff. But here, so Gil is this guy, and he's doing that. And I read both sides of the story. I read Dave Grohl's side of it, and then I read Goldsmith's side of it. And what it seems like, at least judging from both sides, is that Goldsmith was totally justified to feel hurt and to leave the band. He is not justified to still be holding on to that shit all these years later.
No, as we've said, this is like going on 30.
Yeah. So what happens is they're doing the stuff and they're getting berated by Gil. They, according to Goldsmith, he says, like, I did like 93 takes of one song. I did 12-hour sessions trying to do one song. It was like
Holy
a lot.
Shit.
And even Dave Grohl was saying, like, I saw that it was wearing on him. Like, it was getting to him. Like, it was intense. And so the funny part about that is that Dave is saying Gil's going ham, dude. Gil is fucking, he's intense. He's a high pressure dude. And Goldsmith was saying it was Dave doing it. It was Dave who wasn't pleased with any of this stuff. He was the one who was a perfectionist about it. So there's already fucking stories not lining up there.
Yeah.
So who knows? Take your pick. So that happens. He's doing all this extra work. He's fucking exhausted. He's defeated. He records all these tracks. He learns later on another deviation in sides of the story. Dave says that it was he who told William. William says it was Nate who told him. That seems a little bit more probably accurate, but the news is broken that I had re-recorded all of your parts, or the vast majority of your drum parts.
Oh man.
Dave says that Gil told him to do it. And maybe he did, whatever. Point is, also, by the way Dave put it was like, Gil wanted me to re-record some of his drum tracks, when in reality it was like 90% of them. Like, was it some or was it like all?
Damn.
So what happened after that? William was devastated. He says he heard it from Nate, like holy shit, what the fuck? Really upset. But Dave was like, I want you to still be in the band. Like,
yeah.
Then but William was like, I'm not gonna just be a touring drummer. I don't want to like have all my work just not even considered. Like, I worked hard. I'm not the best drummer ever, but I'm good.
Yeah.
And I like what I did. Like, that's disrespectful and it's hurtful. And I don't want to. So it blew up. Again, there's more miscommunications with, like, Dave was like saying that that William said his friend offered him a job digging ditches. Like, oh, fuck it. You want to go dig ditches? Go, no, do that. Then you'll regret, you'll miss being a drummer. But really what happened, at least according to William, he said, I was quoting Caddyshack. I said, like, the world needs ditch diggers. It was like a joke. I guess he didn't get it. So it's like, all these years have passed, two completely different sides. Everything is not lining up. But what seems like what happened was Dave wanted it one way, re-recorded his shit. William was hurt, and now he won't let it go. Now, I know I talked a lot. I'm sorry. It doesn't end there.
It doesn't end there. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Oh my God. So
how does it not end there?
It ended there for a bit. Nate stayed with the Foo Fighters. William left.
Probably still there, yeah.
Obviously there's more albums here. The band reunites. This feud continues a couple albums later, so I can continue the story as it comes up.
Okay, man.
I think it's time to move on.
It feels a little dark, but imagine they ask him to fill in for Taylor, and he just gets like all this PTSD.
Fuck, full on Unfortunate Son starts playing in the background.
Hey, I realized we fucked up. Mea culpa. And then he just fucking loses.
You son of a bitch!
That's not what happened. I'm just
fucking funny if it did. But yeah, anyway, moving on to the next. They reunited, and things are different now. Who's on this next album? I obviously the main three are there, but I'm gonna find out in 2 seconds.
Yes, because
so this is they got Jeff Palmer on bass now. So yeah, Nate isn't on this. I think he's done. I think he's done with the band.
He's got that Dave Grohl money.
He does got the Dave Grohl money, but he does reunite with them for a side project and one of their reunions. So he's like still buddies with them. He still likes them.
Yes.
But anyway, this is 1998. How it feels to be something on.
So this was the first song I ever heard.
Is it?
By them. I was like, no.
Well, I understand why you would think that. This song is very good.
Is this like, on Soulseek, tells you like Rage Against the Machine does the DX theme song, but they don't. Is it like one of those situations?
That drum sound is excellent.
This is a flawless track in the book of Alex.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you like the vocals, honestly.
I love it. They're a little more high pitched, but
Yeah, very hushed.
yeah, everything just kind of comes together here for me. And in a weird way, I feel like it kind of sets a groundwork for me to like ISIS.
You know what? I see it.
Yeah,
I see it.
It doesn't get anywhere near that heavy, but
No. Also, never expected that comparison.
No.
ISIS and Serenity Real Estate. That vocal line is so ISIS.
yes,
Dude, and this, it does sound like ISIS. Holy shit.
boom.
All right, so yeah, that song does rule.
Best personal favorite.
Okay, I'm glad it was. Yeah, okay.
I've heard Diary, I heard this one, and like I always like these albums, but I didn't have any strong feelings about them. And now here, I was like, oh my god, like the
Shit.
way you felt about the last album,
Okay.
like this is flawless to me.
Wow, really?
I love every song on here.
Oh shit, I got problems with it. Like with 3 tracks.
Interesting. Like, it's crazy because it's just, it's a weird album cover.
Yeah.
Especially for the type of music they're playing. But it's just like, I love Pillars so goddamn much. And then you just Roses and Water.
Rose and Water, yeah.
Dude, the riffs are so different.
Yeah,
there.
that main riff is in 9/4, and if you want
That's
a reference for what 9/4 is, that big section in Black Hole Sun, that's 9/4.
Yeah.
Which is, again, you're not expecting crazy odd time signatures with a band like this, but yeah,
Well,
this is what the band is.
They did name a song 5/4, so
They did, yeah, but 9/4 is
9/4 is a different animal.
It's 4 more than 5/4. It's a whole,
I want to see like a Seinfeld episode with George being like, Jerry, it's 4 more.
It's 4 more, Jerry.
4 more.
Every shining time you arrive, that it had me worried in the intro. I was like, all right, it's ballady acoustic, and then as soon as the bass comes in, ooh, it's like butter, baby.
Bass is real good. I forgot there's like a keyboard on there. It's just like
Very layered. There's a whole bunch of synth stuff on here. Yeah.
Yeah. Two Promises is the like most alternative rock thing they've done, but it's still great. It's still kind of weird and moody, and
That's my first issue. That's my first issue song.
Mhm.
There's a lot of Beatles influence on this album. That's one of them.
yes.
Just like in the types of progressions. That one, it's like I have problems with it, but some of those moments, especially as it goes on, those are pretty hard to deny. It gets really big and epic, really legit moments. And then 100 Million is like another one where it's like, I don't know. I'm conflicted because both of those songs, actually, both of them are good examples, where it's like, it does a bunch of stuff that I'm just not super excited about. And then they'll throw in this one thing. I'm like, that's fucking good. God damn it. Like 100 Million. Around 2 minutes in, it goes into this arpeggiated waltz, and it is such a unique ass riff. It returns to it later on, but the first time it shows up is around 2 minutes. It's a whole shift in the whole song, completely different shift.
100 Million's definitely the stronger song. I feel like the guitar and drums are working real hard here in like the best way. Like I love everything this song served up.
Like this comes out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
It sounds like the beginning of a song though.
It does.
That's how much of a shift it is.
Also, vocals are totally different.
That's the next thing we gotta talk about. God, that's a fucking great riff.
Yeah, it completely blindsiding riff. Vocals, and this is where he sounds great on here. He sounds good on here. He's no longer sounds like the Jeremy Enoch that I love. He's not screaming anymore. He never screams again in this band.
Yeah.
And he's doing a lot of like really, falsetto stuff. Everything it's way more ethereal. It's not as angsty. It's not as angry. It's a whole different thing. It's way more gentle, a lot of hush vocals, a lot of like almost whisper singing. It's pretty. It's nice.
A little more high pitch. Yeah.
Yeah. There's not nearly as much aggression. And because of that, there's no like voice cracking. There's no like sheer honesty in it anymore. So that's what I loved about it. Still sounds nice, but it's a different approach entirely.
Title track fucking rules.
Title track does indeed rule.
Prophet feels totally unique for them.
Now that's the only song I do not like on this album.
You know why?
It has those fucking vocals.
It does, but it fucking works.
I can't not laugh. Fucking here.
Fucking works for me.
Fair enough.
Guitar and video games.
Flawless. Flawless.
Who doesn't love those things? And then
it's really me in a nutshell.
Yeah. And in a case of like, they probably influenced, but they're kind of just peers. So like, yeah, it's like the most Modest Mouse thing they've done, but also not, because I doubt,
Yeah. Man, I need to fucking listen to that band like thoroughly.
There are 2 albums from them that I love. Love, yeah.
Yeah, it's been neglected for too long. Guitar and Video Games and The Sharks Own Private Fuck are 2 of my all-time favorite songs in this band.
Nice.
They're both so goddamn good. I mean, Jesus Christ. They're both so fucking good.
Yeah. And then Days Are Golden, more somber than anything else.
Definitely.
You got some brushwork on the drums. I think it's very appropriate as a closer. I think it would be out of place anywhere else.
Yeah. I think by that point I was just more fatigued on like the vibe of everything, because it is a very samey vibe, even though it is consistent. And that one is another one that I feel like has some pretty prominent Beatles influence, but it's a good closer.
Yeah, it's weird to like revisit something I don't have like a strong nostalgia for, and then just like, God damn, that feels good.
Yeah, sometimes you need to hear it at the right time.
Yeah. So this is gonna stay in rotation now for me, or as best I can with all the
nice. That's fucking delightful. Like,
yeah,
I really was expecting one thing going into this episode, and not even a little bit came out that what I thought it was going to come out.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've like even when I get to pick the episode, it's been a while since I just like found an album where I'm like, fuck yeah.
Oh shit, man. Our boy Tom said right here in regards to like the credits on this album, there's like he says that there's a metric fuck ton of engineers and producers on this album, and a noticeable lack of text on the band's wiki compared to the band's first 2 albums. I don't know what that indicates, but I think it indicates something.
It doesn't. Much like what can skinny girls do for you, it doesn't indicate a goddamn thing.
Doesn't do a goddamn thing.
Not a goddamn thing.
I was reading that, certainly expecting this to be like at least a flyover album. Be like, all right, it's not quite is good. And while I do love the album a lot, the previous album more, it's like, no, this is still strong. I wasn't expecting them reuniting to be this fucking consistent.
I will say, because it's coming up, I don't think they have a bad album. This put into these games we play.
The confines of our rules for the show.
These wicked games. You do a better run. I can't.
It's just mostly a Hank Hill impression, honestly.
This is Hank Hill. Something propane.
Alex's best and personal favorite. And I don't know, how much is going on behind the scenes here? There's not a whole lot. Like, aside from like Greg Williamson producing this, who is a vocalist for Positive Greed, which is a hardcore band. But again, we don't know much more about that. Actually, on this album,
God damn it! That this broke my heart right now.
Oh, what happened?
They were supposed to be on one of my picks for the greatest soundtracks ever, the Crow soundtrack.
No, it's City of Angels.
Oh,
that's the sequel.
Oh, never mind. Dodged a bullet there. Dodged a bullet. No, never mind.
Aside from Iggy Pop being in that movie.
Yes.
But they were supposed to be.
If it was the first one, oh man, amazing soundtrack.
They were supposed to be on the City of Angels soundtrack. I guess didn't pan out, but I forgot which songs are. I believe it's it's the title track and Every Shining Time You Arrive were originally intended for Jeremy Enoch's second solo album. Because the first one was released in between the last album and this one, and I think he was like, he's not much of a songwriter on his own. He says that he usually collaborates, but he was actually writing songs by himself for the second album, and they just ended up becoming songs for this album.
Nice.
So apparently he's not too bad at it.
Nice flexible vibe for the band, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Until Dave Grohl sticks his grubby little fingers in.
Oh, I need money. Hello. But
Dave Grohl seems like one of the nicest people in rock music, though, having said all that.
Yeah, he does. He does seem great, except for like,
I'm sure he's ruffled a few.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The only thing that keeps me like skeptical is the fact that he doesn't return Buzz Osborne's phone calls. Like, I'll never like. Why not? Buzz is really cool. Why not? What's the problem? Why aren't you answering his phone calls?
Yeah,
I'll answer his phone calls.
As a fan of both, it's disheartening.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I wonder. But we're on the last one. We got one left, baby, and you know exactly how we both feel, at least from a general sense, because we play this game that we do on this podcast. So, are you ready?
I am ready.
Hell yeah! This is 2000's The Rising Tide.
This was totally different. Oh yeah, it feels way harder than anything on the last album.
It's also crazy how this is like, from a technical standpoint, I think their best sounding album.
Technically, layer-wise, production-wise, it's the most ambitious.
Who did the fucking Wikipedia entry on this? Because it's under Arena of Rock.
I didn't see this.
What the fuck?
Whoever did the wiki for this label, it's not even like arena rock, indie, emo, post-rock. It's just arena rock. It's only arena rock. You hear that? You hear this arena rock right now?
This
is regular old Cream, dude. This is just like Cream.
Just like Cream. Old slow hand.
Yep. Vocals sound a lot like the last album for the most part.
You know what's funny though? If Slow Hand wasn't Eric Clapton's nickname, wouldn't it feel more appropriate for a band like this though?
Yeah. Maybe because Slow Dive.
Oh yeah.
That's a good fucking chorus. And it's a good opener. It's a misleading opener, that's for damn sure.
Yeah, worst, least favorite.
Worst, least favorite. Yep.
I still like it though.
I don't.
You don't.
I actually don't like this album.
Oh damn.
I was pretty let down by this one, like especially considering just the past three. Like, really liked all three. And this one's like, yeah, I see it has moments. It has stuff that is objectively very, very beautiful.
Yeah.
My ultimate problem is this is the only album to really, really like suffer from the sameness. Like everything feels exact. There's only one moment where it changes gears, it feels different, and it perks me up. And that is The Ocean, and that is a song I fucking love. And every time I hear it, like it's like a song that I think I don't like that much. I think I only like it contextually. Yeah. But then every time I hear it, I'm like, no, this song fucking rules.
Yeah, that is one of their more ethereal sounding songs, and then with the bigger production, it definitely helps sonically.
Oh yes,
it's for you, Daniel.
Hell yeah,
sonically.
Hell yeah. It's great for pacing, but it's also basically the only cheery song on the album. And I do say that kind of loosely.
Yeah, I mean, Television, it gets a little upbeat there for what this is.
By the way, this has nothing to do with this album. I just randomly remembered the first album, I believe, was released the same day as Weezer's the fucking Blue album. What is it?
Oh man. Either way, yeah.
And I think that could have been why it didn't do as well.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure, but I remember they're released on the same day. And that's like a crazy thing. May 10th, 94. But back to this.
Yeah, there are things I like about this. Like Rain's song, I don't think they've ever like overtly done a song driven by the acoustic guitar.
There's always like elements or even heavy elements, but never like driven.
And this feels like the first one, kind of dipping their toes in the more like Nick Drake folk.
It has I don't know if are there real strings or it's just synths. I'm not sure.
It looks like there's a string arrangement.
Yeah, real strings. So they do sound great, although they're way more ethereal. Again, they're not quite as in front of you. They're very much peripheral.
I don't know what bass player they had on this album, but the bass playing on Disappear, no relation to Metallica's I Disappear, is just I love the bass playing on that song. This is doing a lot of cool shit.
That one, I didn't like it at first, and it didn't completely win me over second listen, but I did like it a lot more on second listen. Oh, by the way, I believe it's Jeremy on bass on this album. Well, everything except for
track 9.
Which one's in that? Television.
Yeah.
So is there even bass in Television? Yeah, there is. Who plays on it? Yeah, Dan plays it on Television. But what's the only other song that aside from the opener that I like a lot is Faces in Disguise, which is truly gorgeous.
That song, I didn't love it at first.
Really?
And then it would this won me over the more it goes on.
It does go on a while.
Because at first I was like, you can just cut this, and it evolves and changes, and you feel better with it, and I like it a lot. That's it's obviously not in the same vein as the previous 3 albums, but I think my biggest complaint about this one is Faces in Disguise and the title track are just too similar.
And I that's funny because I think the title track is one of my least favorite songs there's across the board.
Yeah.
And Faces in Disguise, it's not one of my favorites, but I do like it a lot. The main riff sounds a lot like, might even be the same chord changes as, here's a weird pull, Xerxes from Deftones.
Oh shit.
Is it, that's how you pronounce it? Xerxes from Saturday Night Wrist?
Yeah.
Which I fucking adore that song. And I believe it's like the same chord changes.
Yeah.
And it's just fucking lovely.
Yeah.
It's just pretty. And it's that song itself is almost, it's bordering on psychedelic the way, and on how big and wide it is and how many synths are on there. And it's just very, very floaty.
If you want to go Middle Eastern psychedelic though.
Oh God.
And the very psychedelic title, you got Fool in the Photograph.
Full on Arabian Nights.
Yes.
Good God Almighty, is that one cheesy?
Of course I like that.
I'm not that big on that one.
I'm gonna listen to that, Behind My Camel, all of it.
Actually, I know one that you probably like that I don't like.
What's that?
Snibe.
Okay, so it ticks the box of random robot vocals.
Yep,
which I'm
there it is.
Always on board for, or not always, but more likely. They do kind of come out of nowhere, but
They do.
Interesting enough, this band's an interesting jambalaya of sounds. I was like, this could be a Jane's Addiction track.
Okay, I'm glad you said that because I forgot this point. On more so the last album, maybe this one too, but more so on the previous album, lots of moments where Jeremy sounds like Perry Farrell, like similar vocal choices, and then also he's way up there in the higher register.
He's got, well, again, not like they did it. I hesitate to say first because whoever really did it first, but they've gone like his vocals have gone full Placebo, the band Placebo. So yeah, that's where they're at here. And then in some ways I was like, I know you didn't love I didn't love Sparkle Horse, but like when he's good, I was like, this is like the best Sparkle Horse album he's never done.
I mean, I love the first Sparkle Horse album quite a bit. But check out that episode. But yeah, like overall, this one, it's like, it's not even that I didn't like the direction they went in. I don't love the direction they went in, but I'm fine with it. It's mostly just the fatigue of the same type of song over and over again. Sure, there's tons of variation in between. There's a lot of great, beautiful stuff on here, but you feel that like everything feels the same. It's the same level or the same like gauge of melancholy. Where again, the only moment of levity is the ocean. Where this is it's still kind of sad. It's still not fully cheery, but it's like just a different type of sad. Give me all the different colors of sad. Don't just give me the one color of sad. That's basically what I'm saying.
Sure. Throw in some grays in your blacks.
Yeah. This is all one color. Whereas the earlier ones, maybe like the last album, sure, it was all kind of dreary and sad, but it had different colors of sad.
This is definitely one of the more like interesting, like, I don't know if variation's the right word, but like, I don't know, like how many bands we've covered, and then it's like, it kind of makes sense, or it like comes out of nowhere, but it's really good. And then this is a really like interesting note in the band's discography at minimum. If like it, like I said, doesn't scratch the same itch as the first three albums, but I don't know. It's very interesting, and it's a different animal.
It's a different thing completely. It may not be for me, but it's not even close to the worst thing ever. I think this also had some sadness to it because they toured, I think, heavily promoting this one, and then they broke up immediately after. So I don't think it did that well.
Goddamn.
These guys really didn't succeed. They just I don't know. I mean, they succeeded in one way. They have a great name for themselves, and they obviously influenced a bunch. And I think they reunited last year, and I'm sure they're doing well there.
If that tour didn't do gangbusters, I'm going to be fucking furious.
It had to have. There's no way it didn't. But especially because they're arena rock. But
that's right. That's where because they can do arenas.
Oh yeah. But they broke up again after this, and then I'm sure all kinds of shit happened in between. I read about it, but I didn't like fucking etch it into my brain. But they reunited in 2009.
What a weird performance.
Yeah. Well, the first, I think, public thing they did was they played Seven, which is a cool thing to do, on a Late Night with Jimmy Fallon. Everyone's favorite late night show. Fucking Jesus Christ.
I feel like the only reason cool musical shit happens on that show is because the Roots. Like, who doesn't want to hang out with the Roots? That was
before the Roots. This was Late Night. That was before. He's a Tonight Show now. You're right. I thought they were just for the Tonight Show, but I guess they're for Late Night as well.
There you go.
I jumped the gun. Before the reunion, Enoch, Goldsmith, and Mendel formed the Fire Theft. in 2001. Their first album came out in 2003, and then
So you have to check that out.
Yeah, I'm curious about that too, because Mendel, because it kind of hopped back and forth between them and Foo Fighters whenever the schedule would allow. He would go on tour with Fire Theft, and so there he was still very much friends with them and still a part of them, even though he's with the Foo Fighters. Then they reunite with him, and things are going so well that they're like, "Fuck it, we're recording another goddamn album, baby.
Oh,
here we go, let's do it." And they go to Dave Grohl's, 606 Studios or Studio 606. And they work out a bunch of stuff and fucking radio silence. Nothing happens. They record stuff. It gets leaked. A little bit of it is leaked instrumentally, which I listened to. I don't know how many tracks there are. I listened to 6. Maybe that's all there is. That's floating around there. Maybe there's more. But it doesn't see the light of day. And there's all kinds of rumors and allegations as to why. One of them is Goldsmith's side of the story, which is a little bitter. He straight up blamed Dave Grohl for it not coming out. He said some pretty nasty things, I think.
You know what, Goldsmith, you've been burned, and I get where you're coming from, but maybe just stay away from Dave. I don't,
because like he keeps going on record saying like, I'm fine making up with him if he'll just sit down and talk with me.
Okay, maybe, yeah.
But the things he says when he's not sitting down in front of Dave Grohl, or it's like he blamed him for like the reunion not working out and the album not coming out. He said the album also didn't come out because Jeremy didn't get, quote, the moral support as well as the engineering that he deserved. So he's putting maybe words in his mouth. I don't know if Jeremy said that. I don't know. And it all seemed very bitter. And then that didn't go over well. Nate was very hurt by that, and he, according to this snippet from Spin, Mendel said at the time that there was no truth to the claim, and relations between him and Goldsmith have been strained ever since, which is super sad.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, and so Horner said this about it, which is even sadder, and it makes Goldsmith look worse, because this is Horner saying this. He says, a lot of those things were untrue and hurtful to Dave and Nate. I hope one day we're sitting and talking about how we fixed it with the Foo Fighters and that they accepted our apology. I also hope and pray one day that I get to play music with Nate again, but we're going to have to earn it, and it's not going to be easy. Ooh, fuck. It's like, oh, that's deep. That sucks.
That is rough.
On the actual unreleased 5th album, which I think you can find a playlist on YouTube under the name LP5. It also has like they released one once it was on a split with
Circus Survive.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Called Lipton Witch. It's like the only song of
newish material.
Yeah. And it's a good song. It's a cool song.
I need to check that out.
Yeah. It's also on the same playlist on YouTube.
Nice.
But anyway, those songs, they're undeveloped, of course. There's no vocals, but they're basically put together. Wasn't too jazzed on them. Wasn't too into any of them. I think she kind of didn't like any of them. And I don't feel bad for that, because this is what Horner said about those, about the whole situation, about the album, about the songs. He says, well, at least this thing says, Horner admits that purported unreleased 5th album instrumentals floating around on YouTube are legitimate, and that the band worked on 12 or 13 songs during the sessions, but felt they simply, quote, didn't sound like Sunny Day. It sounded like a straight ahead rock record, but not even good, just like boring and bland. I'm so grateful to the studio and the generosity of Dave Grohl and Nate, and I hate to diss our work because we did work hard on it. We looked at those and unanimously were like, we missed the mark. It's hard because you put in so much time and effort, and a song becomes a living part of you. We had to bury these songs and move on.
Man.
Oh boy.
But I don't, at least he's a realist.
Yeah.
Because I bet a lot of bands would have just been like, no, man, like people, they want this. And I respect this being like, we missed the mark.
Don't like it. If you don't like it, why would you do it? Why would you put it out? It also reminds me, the second comparison to Deftones of the unreleased Deftones album, the last one that had the bassist who died. What's his name?
Chi.
Yeah, you're right. Chi Chang.
Yeah.
Chi Chang. The unreleased album. What the hell is it called?
I didn't know about this right now.
Oh, did you? Yeah. Eros. There we go. There was the working title Eros. It was basically made. It was basically completed.
Mhm.
And then Chi got in that accident.
Yeah.
Put him into a coma. And they're like, fucking, all right, let's just fucking hold off.
Yeah.
And then it didn't get better. And they just moved on. Like, well, let's just record a new album. So that's when Diamond Eyes came out.
Yeah.
And it was always just kind of in the back burner. Like, we'll put it out when he's better. And then he died. And they're like, fuck it. Let's just not. And I think if I'm not misremembering, the last thing about it that I read was that they were like, it's just, we moved on from those songs. Like, that's just, we don't even like it. They had problems. We were hoping to finish it and work through it with Chi, but it's just move on. It's just leave it.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's like a whole different beast, and I get like how personal that feels.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I could see maybe that's seeing the light of day. That kind of also reminds me of that Volta album, which was their last album until recently, Nocturna Tourniquet.
We're from Volta?
Yeah.
Tourniquet, yeah.
Yeah, where Omar gave Cedric those songs and then he took forever and he's like, I moved on from them and
detached, don't really feel anything for them.
Yeah.
And the album suffers. And I think it's you know what? I would probably put the newest album as their worst at this point. But that was, that was the worst.
At the time. And yeah, it's also, we're doing a side quest, but it was interesting to hear those things. And then they like played one song from that album on the reunion.
Oh, wow.
Thing. So
didn't see that coming.
I did not see that coming. I was like, is this a fucking new song? And then I looked up the set list and I was like, it's from what?
Holy shit. So most recent news, of course, I believe in the same Spin interview, which is from January of 2022. That's when they confirmed that the main three were going to be reuniting. And so they toured in May, whatever. I think. Wait, no, it was announced in May. On September 10th, sorry, they played the first reunion at the Big Dipper, which is a venue co-owned by Horner in Spokane. And yeah, I mean, if they're still doing it,
let's fucking go.
I'd be down to go. Fuck yeah.
Let's fucking go.
That I can safely say I'm a fan of Sunny Day Real Estate, which I never saw. Not even that I had like a vendetta or like, fuck him, I don't want to listen to that. It's just like I never thought that I would actually listen to them. Like I never thought I would be like, all right, I'll fucking. It was. There's so many bands to listen to. Like
absolutely.
There's just why would I get around to them?
And I've talked about this before. I think maybe. So I apologize, but it's kind of hard when if you find a band on your own and maybe your friends don't like the band or for whatever reason it's just not in your atmosphere. So it's not that like I felt like, oh, I don't need to listen to this anymore. It's just like, I meet new people and they're amped about this thing. And
it just gets pushed and new things come in and then everything gets shuffled around and then you forget.
So maybe if I had a more emotional connection, I would have kept it in rotation. Maybe. But now I do have an emotional connection because this podcast is the hardest thing I've ever worked on in my life.
It certainly takes a lot of time. A lot of time. Oh my God. So much time. But hell yes, that's another episode in the fucking can. Let's do a little recap.
Nice, clean, easy one here. I hate the title of this, but it is my favorite. Every track's a banger. How it feels to be on something
on.
Or so.
It drives me crazy. I don't
how it feels to be something on.
Yeah.
Real messy there. And then worst least favorite, Rising Tide. I actually enjoy it. I think it's a very interesting album. Doesn't scratch the same itch, but That's what we do here.
Indeed. And for me, self-titled / LP2 / the Pink Album, best personal favorite. It is up there with some of my favorite post-hardcore albums, except with a little bit more soul, a lot more melody, prettier.
This is Charles Bradley doing
It's
Sunny
just
Day.
Charles Bradley doing
Sunny Day Real Estate. That would be fucking amazing, though, if he was still alive.
Of course. We talked about him on a recent episode, about the episode we did on Charles Bradley. And I mentioned that it's like, probably our maybe second least listened to episode ever. And like 2 days ago, I got copyright claims from the Charles Bradley episode from YouTube. Like they barely figured out that someone put out that episode.
Someone at YouTube listens to our podcast and then they heard us.
Oh shit! All right.
Oh fuck! Let me get these guys real quick.
That was like 3 years ago.
It's not even on a major either, which is funny. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep bringing up Charles Bradley until people listen to that fucking episode.
It's fucking great. It's a great artist. Anyway, that album rules. Rising Tide, worst least favorite. And it is the only album I don't like by the band. It's not even that bad. It's just it wears on me more than most. Decent otherwise, but not for old Mikey boy.
Fair, which people won't hear that it's
no people hear what they want to hear. And if
you guys, this fucking what just came out,
huh? With Red Cross.
Oh my
spazzes.
fucking god,
dude, the spazzes. It's fucking hilarious how like a band where I think I'm gonna love the fans, they turn out to be a bunch of fucking dork spazzes who can't handle anything.
Fucking weirdos, man.
You could literally praise a band like I did for 2.5 hours and they'll still find a way to spaz out.
My favorite thing is when they refer to us as one person. I'm like, who are you? Occasionally we'll get singled out, but sometimes they just talk like we're one person. And I have been told that people do like this podcast because we have from each other unique voices, where some podcasts everyone sounds the same. You're like, who the fuck's talking?
First of all, no one can confuse our voices.
No,
and no one can confuse our faces.
No.
And also, we disagreed the entire episode for the most part, except for like the albums that we liked and didn't like. Everything else, like,
still got referred to as one person, though.
You know what? Maybe we should just fuse like fucking Dragon Ball. But thank you so much for listening and watching. Thank you, Connie, for one, sticking with us for so long, and then two, suggesting a band that we wouldn't have chosen, or maybe he would have chose.
Some
honestly.
People, not Goldsmith, but some people would say Connie's the best.
Absolutely.
The best.
So thank you for that so much.
The
best. You're gonna be my hype man, sing the best after every line.
Haven't I shown you the where they just replace all the words
with the best?
Yeah,
I sure have.
Okay,
I know exactly the reference.
Right, good. That's all. Check that out on YouTube.
Oh Jesus! But yeah, so if you want to support us and help us, you can leave us insulting comments. You can also or you could also not and just subscribe and hang out, or do whatever the fuck you want. Honestly,
the algorithm doesn't care. Comments are comments, baby.
Please do whatever you feel is best. Leave your picture best and worst if you want to play along with us, or tell us we're retarded because we didn't like exactly what you liked. It's all good. You can do whatever you want, baby. It's America. At least in this room, it's America. You can also follow me on all social media at PanderMonkey and Alex on Instagram at
Every Album Alex.
Hell yes. And please do not forget to follow our history man, Tom Osman, who does a whole bunch of shit for us. He jumps through hoops. He fucking pulls miracles from his rectum. Tom Osman Sounds at all social media, as well as TomOsmanSounds.com for all his music. TomOsman.substack.com for all his interviews and all his stuff about music, which is great. And his most recent album, Industrial State of Mind, which he did with Existent, Non-Existent. And you could find links to all that in the description. Check out my EP too, Pander Monkey. It's good. Listen to it. Yes. And there's a link to that in the description also. Yes. I think that's... No, there's not.
Patreon.
Baby, Patreon. Got to. Patreon.com/everyalbumever. We got some bonus episodes. You get to see our schedule in advance. You get to vote on polls to decide who we're covering next. The next big episode is going to be a poll winner, which was exciting. I was glad it won. You could also join the Discord, be part of our community, and suggest our EAE singles episodes. That the year is moving forward. Things are coming out, so it's more relevant than ever. And we're picking albums directly from there to do episodes on. And then, of course, you can do what Connie did and suggest a full-ass discography if you're tier 2. These are harder. They take longer to do. They're usually much bigger episodes, but they're fun and they're thorough.
You be cool like Connie and pick a band with 4 albums.
You can be really great and do one that's not going to hurt us.
And buy T-shirts for your entire family.
Please do that. Everyone be more like Connie, for the love of God. But yeah, I think that's about it. Go there, do that. Thank you. And well, I think it's time to wrap it. And I think it's time you picked a song.
Yeah, it's again to bring up Stain, even though I hate them, but I have to go. I have to go with Pillars. We played a little bit of it. It's the first song I heard from them, and it's so crazy to be like, that's the first song, and it continues to be my favorite.
Hell yeah.
Every other band's so jumbled, I can't say like that's the first song, and I love this band. I can say that.
Hell yeah, baby. So there we go. Pillars. Thank you so much for listening and watching. See ya.